Closed captioning is brought to you by Aaron Saxon Associates.
Right now at 5, we have the results from Super Tuesday, and we'll see which presidential candidates voters in Oklahoma chose.
And we're going to be a little warmer today. We'll see a little more sunshine later today ahead of our increasing thunderstorm chances. Well, look at that forecast. Get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a murder charge is filed in the stabbing death of a Carl Junction, Missouri man.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's another cool one out there.
Yes,
There's
a little chilly.
A little drizzle this
Okay.
morning. I didn't feel it. I didn't even notice it until I unlocked my car. You know, the headlights turn on, and then I could see itty bitty little droplets kind of flying by, little bitty ones. And our producer Tennyson mentioned that he said his back porch was wet.
Okay.
So he said it must have been like something that was brief and then it
I
dried right back
that.
up. So we had a couple of stray showers last night. Not that that's bad.
No, not at all.
And we've got more much needed rain on the way as we head into tonight. But we've got a fantastic Wednesday out there.
Absolutely.
And it is Wednesday. It's hump day. It's halfway through.
It is hump day, you know, just trucking along, and nothing wrong with a little rain here on this Wednesday.
Not at all. Let's take a quick look outside at our camera from the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. It is relatively cloudy out there, still a little bit breezy, but as you can see, the winds are also shifting out there. They were out of the north most of yesterday, and now they're beginning to shift out of the south. Again, you can see the camera shaking. It's a bit breezy, but the good news is these winds will let up. But again, it is also quite cloudy out there. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line, looking pretty good as well as we get the day underway. The roadways are dry out there. Temperatures around the area, for most of us, we're in the 40s. We've got some upper 30s out there, but it's not a bad start to the day, and it's actually relatively close to what we saw yesterday, except for our far southeastern communities where that cold front hadn't quite made it through just yet. Kids getting on the bus this morning, we are looking about 45 degrees, mostly cloudy initially, northeast breeze 10 to 15, and when that bus brings them home, we're going to have a northeasterly breeze about 5 to 10, and it'll be partly cloudy, 63. We've got highs today, low to mid 60s out there. Skies will gradually clear as we head through the late morning, afternoon, and into the evening hours, and then they're going to turn around and cloud right back up ahead of our thunderstorm chances beginning late tonight. We'll take a look at all of that in the complete forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Last night was a pivotal night in the presidential primaries. 15 states and 1 territory voted on this Super Tuesday. Oklahoma was among them. Donald Trump continues his dominance among Republicans in the state. The only other Republican still campaigning for the GOP nomination is Nikki Haley. She finished in a distant second. Among Democrats, President Biden did face a handful of challengers in Oklahoma, but the incumbent president is the overwhelming choice of Democrats in the Sooner State. Some Libertarian candidates also competed for a spot on Oklahoma's November presidential ballot. Chase Oliver is the winner. KOAM's Fernanda Silva asked several voters in Miami what drove them to the polls.
Change in our nation.
Change is a word many voters used to explain why they chose to vote the way they did. Border control is one of their main concerns.
We've got more crime in the country. We've had all these problems due to the fact that we can't close the border.
All the illegal aliens who have not been vetted need to be vetted, or they need to be sent back to where they came from. Not against immigration, just do it the legal way.
Voters also highlighted gas and grocery prices as concerns.
It's just to a point where a lot of people just flat can't afford it.
I want to see things made easier for our families.
Our country's in a mess.
Many voters we spoke to are Trump supporters, and the economy in general is another issue that drove them to the polls.
I mean, everybody says the economy's kind of okay, but it's not.
The economy has really tanked. I know they keep saying everything's coming up, but they forget that it tanked when they took over, and it's just now coming back up.
I expect the country to be in a lot better shape than what it's been in the last 4 years.
But not everyone is in agreement on the issues.
I think we have made such progress in the last 3 years. There's still much to be done, but I think that, my word, the medical changes, it is more than has occurred in many years.
While they might not agree on some topics, most agree on why people should go out and vote.
If I don't get out there and vote, then I can't expect, I can gripe and complain about it, but if I don't do my part as a citizen, I've got to get in there and say, hey, I'm concerned about this. I want my vote to be counted.
If we don't speak up with our vote, we will regret it.
In Miami, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
While KOAM's team didn't ask voters who they voted for, some chose to share their thoughts, and Donald Trump was the most mentioned. On Super Tuesday, besides Oklahoma, 14 other states held primaries or caucuses. Be sure to download the KOAM News app for all your election needs. You can also go to our website for election information at koamnewsnow.com/elections. The website will include resources for all of the 4-state area, such as polling places, deadlines, dates, and you can even check to see if you're registered to vote. Once again, that's koamnewsnow.com/elections. One of the persons of interest in a Jasper County stabbing death is now charged with murder. Scott Burleson is charged with second-degree murder, first-degree robbery, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. He is still on the run. Authorities are also still searching for Paul Phillips, who's still only considered a person of interest and is not yet charged. Both are considered to be armed and dangerous. The Jasper County Sheriff's Office is searching for both men in connection with the stabbing death of Seth Langford of Carl Junction. Authorities say Langford was stabbed on Saturday and died of his injuries yesterday. The family of an Ottawa County jail inmate who died in the jail is receiving more than $1 million to cover attorney fees. That's on top of the $33 million they were awarded in the wrongful death lawsuit filed against the county. The case dates back to 2015 when Terrell Ellis turned himself in at the jail for a DWI warrant. 12 days later, he was seen on surveillance video complaining of pain and begging for help as jail staff mocked him. Hours later, he was found cold and unresponsive. You can read more about the case on our website, koamnewsnow.com. The city of Miami announces its new interim city manager. Tyler Klein will fill the position until a full-time replacement for Bo Reese can be found. Klein previously served as the interim position in 2021 after former city manager Dean Kuroff retired. He has worked for the city since 2011. The search for a new city manager is expected to take 8 to 12 weeks. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Riverton boys basketball is heading to the state for the first time since 2015. We'll have the details. Plus, mysterious street artist work is getting a lot of traction leading up to the Paris Olympic Games. And we have a warmer and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
4 days only to save like never before during the 4-day super financing. But hurry, the 4-day super sale at Furniture Row ends soon.
Riverton boys basketball is heading to state for the first time since 2015. Yesterday afternoon, the Rams left for Hutchinson. Chants of blue and gold and let's go Rams echoing through the hallways as the sub-state champion Riverton basketball team leaves for state. This is just the second season for the Rams under the direction of head coach Tucker Thompson, who says he loves this team's never say die attitude.
The best thing that I've seen is definitely their mentality. They believe they can. They believe that they are better. They believe that no matter what happens during the game, if they're winning or losing, the game's not over until it hits 0. And they continue trying to fight, and that's definitely the best thing the thing I'm most proud of.
Erie boys basketball picked up one of the biggest upsets in the entire state of Kansas on Saturday. The Red Devils took down Colgan, who was number 3 ranked team in Class 2A, and in doing so, they punched their ticket to the 2A state tournament. Red Devils are led by first-year head coach Braven Bourne. This Saturday marked their first win over Colgan in 3 seasons. Erie feels the sky is the limit this weekend at state, and the Red Devils' top players give a ton of credit to Coach Bourne.
We love him here. He makes a plan and we stick to it, and it works. Whatever he plans works, and we listen to him. And obviously, like, everybody needs to respect him because first-year coach is beat a very good team.
Right as soon as we got to the sub-state is when I really noticed that something was different in our practices. The desire to be here, the willingness to work extra hard and prepare for teams that maybe we hadn't seen.
I think we're super dangerous, you know. We got a 6'8", big, not a lot of teams have that, and we're working well together right now. Michael's a great shooter. We got Daniel's a good rebounder. Grant's a good rebounder, so I think we could beat anybody in the state.
The MIAA basketball tournament tips off this afternoon in Kansas City. Yesterday, postseason awards are released, and the 4 states are home to both Conference Freshmen of the Year. Missouri Southern center Ryan Franklin is the MIAA Women's Basketball Freshman of the Year. She started in every game the Lions have played this season, leading the team in rebounds with just under 6 per contest. She's also Southern's second leading scorer with just over 11.5 points per game. Franklin is an honorable mention All-MIAA performer. Pittsburgh State guard Jordan Friesen takes home the MIAA Men's Basketball Freshman of the Year award. Led the Gorillas in minutes played this season, averaging 36 minutes of playing time per contest. Friesen is also top 5 in the conference in assists and an honorable mention All-MIAA performer. Elsewhere on the women's side, Pitt State teammates Corinna Gerber and Grace Pyle each are selected to the first team All-MIAA. Southern guard Chrislyn Jones makes the second team All-Conference. Then 3 Lions, Ryan Franklin, Caitlin Honeycutt, and Brandy Hudson, along with Pittsburgh State's Harper Schreiner, are all receiving honorable mention selections from the MIAA. On the men's side, Pittsburgh State's Marquis English is on the first team All-Conference. Southern's Darius Dawson is on the second team. PSU's Jeremy Shaw is on the third team. Then PSU's RJ Forney receives an All-Defense selection. Friesen gets an honorable mention, and Martin Emcenas and Vincent Sigmund Jr. from MSSU. Well, still to come, we'll see how secondhand smoke could also put your dog at greater risk for cancer, and rain chances increasing late tonight. We'll have another look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
4 states for voting for Aaron Sachs and Associates as the finest law firm in the area.
I am ready.
Then take a spin on the Wheel of Fortune.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:18 on this Wednesday morning, halfway through the first official full week of March, and it is quite cloudy out there, still a bit on the breezy side, and it is chilly as well. We've even seen some occasional light drizzle here and there. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Roads are dry, so any precipitation we're seeing, A, it's not really showing up on the Skywatch Storm Tracker at all, and B, it's extraordinarily light and brief. However, that is going to change as we head into tonight. Now, through the afternoon, the clouds will actually clear, and we're going to start to see mostly clear skies by this evening across the area. However, that will change. Clouds will increase again as we head later into the evening, and overnight tonight, say after about 1 a.m., 2 a.m., we're going to start to see scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area. So by this time tomorrow morning, be ready for thunderstorm activity. Here we are at noon on Thursday. Scattered thunderstorms across the area. They're continuing. This is now 5 o'clock tomorrow. They are holding on. Then we'll get a break late Thursday into very early Friday before another batch of showers and thunderstorms begins to roll in from the west. So for tonight, we've got the scattered thunderstorms late tonight that'll be building in. We do have that low wind risk, which has been expanded across the area for some strong to low grade severe thunderstorms tomorrow, with hail and winds being the primary concern. And then as that system exits Friday, again back into our southeastern counties, we have that low wind risk again for wind and hail as the primary threats with any of these stronger storms. So of course we will be keeping a close eye on all of that for you over the next couple of days. Right now, again, quite cloudy out there. Cloud base fairly low, 46, feels like 42 in Joplin, east breeze at about 8. Temperatures around the region for the most part are in the 40s out there. We've got a couple of upper 30s, Fort Scott, Yates Center, Neodesha checking in a little colder, same with Parsons into the low 30s, so a bit of a chilly start. We're going to be mostly cloudy through the morning and be about 52 again by 11 o'clock this morning. And then again, afternoon, the clouds will begin to gradually clear out there. And we're going to eventually make highs right around the mid 60s. Some of us low 60s, some of us upper 60s, depending on how quickly those clouds clear. Then about 8, 9 o'clock, the clouds will start to build right back in and temperatures falling back into the upper 40s, low 50s. We'll start to see those scattered thunderstorms again late tonight after about 1 o'clock in the morning. And we'll continue with those thunderstorm chances into Friday, so that keeps us into the low 60s. A few lingering showers Saturday morning, and we'll be into the 50s. And then again, it's a brief cool down. We'll go back into the 60s as we head into next week. We've got some additional shower and thunderstorm chances next Wednesday and Thursday. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Hepatitis C, don't just treat it, crush it.
But donations are encouraged to support our local Ronald McDonald House charities of the 4 states.
Topping Health Watch this morning, eating well does not offset the negative effects of poor sleep. That's according to a new study published Tuesday in the journal JAMA Network Open. Researchers looked at health outcomes for more than 500,000 people between the ages of 40 and 69. It found that those who slept for fewer than 6 hours were nearly twice as likely to develop type 2 diabetes. That risk did not improve for those with the healthiest diets. Experts say the findings confirm a link between poor sleep and diabetes, not a cause and effect relationship. In order to get enough rest, they recommend establishing a consistent sleep schedule, a wind down ritual like a warm bath or shower, and reading a book instead of scrolling through social media. People at risk should also avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed. You need another reason to quit smoking? Here it is. Secondhand smoke isn't just bad for the people around you. It could also put your dog at greater risk for cancer. That's according to a recent study published in the Veterinarian Journal. The researchers studied Scottish Terriers exposed to cigarette smoke at home. They picked that specific breed because Scotties have a very high rate of bladder cancer compared to other breeds. The study found that being exposed to cigarette smoke at home made Scotties 6 times as likely to develop bladder cancer. Experts recommend quitting smoking, smoking outside, and changing out of smoky clothing before getting close to your dog. It's been a long-held view that menopause can raise risk for depression or other mental health problems in women. But a new study suggests that is not true. Researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospitals in Massachusetts and Melbourne, Australia, found the risk for depression in menopausal women is overstated, and they determined there was no universal link between the two. But the research did find factors that could increase a woman's chance of depression during menopause. Those include previous episodes of depression or other mental health issues, stressful life events, and a disruption from hot flashes. In vitro fertilization work could resume in Alabama as early as tomorrow or Friday. State lawmakers have key votes set for today. Amy Kiley reports the IVF legislation is on the fast track.
Don't cry. Legislation that would restart in vitro fertilization in Alabama could become law by tonight or tomorrow. The state House and Senate are poised for votes today. They're in response to a state Supreme Court ruling last month calling a frozen embryo a child. Lawmakers say they want to create a shield from legal liability.
Patients need to have the same protection as the doctors and the providers, and that's what we're trying to do.
Alabama Governor Kay Ivey says she expects passage and will sign the legislation. In the meantime, clinics say they're on hold because they fear civil and criminal penalties.
It's so incredibly unfortunate because it really leaves these patients in a very bad spot.
At least 2 clinics say they're eager to resume treatments, and some families already have their frozen embryos.
As it stands, we don't have a choice on if we want to use that or not. We're kind of locked out of that decision right now.
The reality is, without doing another embryo transfer, without doing IVF, without having access to it, like, my journey ends.
Some critics say the legislation should go further. They want to address the court's declaration that an embryo is a child.
Can I take this embryo off income tax? Can I apply for school choice?
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Alabama lets governors sign bills electronically, and that could expedite enactment. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got another chilly start out there for us. It will warm up today. We'll see a little more sunshine ahead of thunderstorm chances late tonight. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
The application window is now open for funds from Hero Fund USA. Visit KOAMnewsnow.com/HeroFund for the application and guidelines.
Right now at 5:30, Pitt State looks to make education more affordable with a brand new scholarship program.
We've got another chilly and cloudy start for us today. However, skies will begin to clear later and will be a little warmer. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, batter up. The Carthage School District breaks ground on a new baseball field.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. So it is Wednesday, halfway through the work week.
Halfway through the work week.
And halfway through your first official week with us. So you joined us last week. For those that may have missed it,
just a little bit early.
Thursday, a little early, but you're almost through the first week. How's it going?
You know, I am still a little tired and getting adjusted to waking up early. There's a train that likes to stall by my apartment where I live and make me late for work sometimes. But other than that, it's been great.
You gotta love it. Well, you see, of course, you know, the trains, they do that overnight, so they're not obstructing traffic. But there's always one or two people out there that are going to be out at 5 o'clock. Yeah, well, okay, 3 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, I mean, they try and do it when there's not that many cars, but
can't blame them.
Yeah,
can't blame them.
It'd be worse though if it was in the middle of the afternoon. I can't even begin to
Oh my goodness, could you imagine?
Oh my gosh, I've seen it happen on occasion.
Oh, really?
It's rare, in the afternoon, but it does happen sometimes, and man, it really backs things up. Let's take a quick look outside, shall we? This is the MoDOT camera 32nd and Range line. Of course, no trains there, no train tracks at that particular location. Back a little bit though, under that bridge, there are some train tracks, and back off that way there are, but they usually don't stop. And we're cloudy out there right now. For some of us, some pretty thick clouds, even some light drizzle here and there. We've got temperatures for the most part in the 40s. Out west, a little cooler. We got some low 30s, Parsons, Neodesha, upper 30s, Yates Center, Sedan, Independence, and Fort Scott. But it's not that bad of a start out there. Kids getting on the bus, mostly cloudy. 45 northeast breeze at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Be partly cloudy when that bus brings them home. 63. Northeast breeze 5 to 10. We're going to be a little warmer today. Skies will begin to clear afternoon. We're going to go for highs right around the low to mid 60s out there. And then after about, say, 7 o'clock, the clouds begin to return ahead of some increasing thunderstorm chances late tonight and into Thursday and Friday. We will look at all of that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces more than $14 million in funding to improve 37 airports in the state. In our area, the Atkinson Municipal Airport in Pittsburgh will receive $135,000 to replace its automated weather observing system. Chenew's Martin Johnson Airport will use $180,000 to install chain link fencing with barbed wire as a wildlife barrier. And in Iola, the Allen County Airport has 2 projects in the works totaling just under $665,000. The first for the design and the second for the construction of drainage and earthwork project for a parallel taxiway at the airport. The SEK Humane Society has closed its doors again due to quarantine. According to the shelter, parvo cases are circulating in the southeast Kansas area. The shelter says this is the same strain that was seen last fall and affected adult dogs that had already been vaccinated from parvo, though vaccinated dogs have a better chance at fighting and recovering from it. The outbreak couldn't have come at a worse time for the shelters, as it once again is operating at full capacity. Pitt State looks to make education more affordable with a brand new scholarship program. The school says the idea behind the Great Gorilla Scholarship Program was to remove hurdles to students seeking a college education. Most notable, an ACT test score is no longer required. Awards are based only on GPA. The Great Gorilla Scholarship Program begins this fall. Some Pitt State social work students are raising money for local organizations. The 5 students raised money by selling cookies and collecting donations. Those funds will support buying fentanyl test strips for the Wesley House in Joplin and the Community Health Center in Pittsburgh. The Wesley House will also receive feminine hygiene products, and money will fund school supplies for Pittsburgh's West Side Elementary.
We want to show the community that social workers can help out in many different areas and just give the people in need just a little bit of support and love and show that they are cared for and that we care about them and want to help them in the best ways possible.
The students also recruited volunteers for a prom for the people with intellectual disabilities and raised awareness for men's mental health. One area of business is stepping up to help those facing food insecurities. Toast, located near the intersection of 4th and Broadway in Pittsburgh, launched Spread the Loaf in November. Its purpose is to bake bread and to give it to those facing food insecurities. They work with area food banks to help distribute the bread to those in need.
We've seen other bakeries in Kansas City or other areas that have done something similar. They called it neighborly loaf or community loaf or something. We're like, that's a good idea. Theirs is based more on individuals being able to buy another individual bread. We thought there's probably a bigger need in the local food bank, so we kind of co-opted that idea and transformed it into what we're doing.
So it means bringing fresh, locally sourced bread to about 20% of our folks who are suffering from food insecurity in Crawford County. So it means a lot. It's a huge thing.
Even if you can't spread the loaf yourself, you could share, and that's also spreading the loaf. So spread the love in any way you can. 1 loaf or 500 loaves, whatever you want to do.
Close to 500 people have benefited since they started in November. If you want to help, there is a link on their Facebook page. Over at Pitt State, the Bicknell Center was filled with the sounds of the symphony. The Pitt State Symphonic Band hosted a concert, but they weren't alone. They were joined by the Pittsburgh Hispanic Bandana and the PSU Brass Ensemble, the Pittsburgh Community Middle School Choir, and the PSU Percussion Ensemble. Pittsburgh High School Theater raises the curtain on its spring production. The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson musical, is an adaptation of the best-selling book The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan and features an original score by Rob Rokicki. One cast member said it's good to play the bad guy.
Percy Jackson is, at first he's like, wow, I'm such a misunderstood kid, I'm so different. And then he realizes he's a demigod and there are so many other kids like him, which is crazy. And then all at the same time, he's put on this quest to find this lightning bolt that he didn't even steal.
Grover's known to be a little bit of a goofball in this version. He's all getting into all sorts of these hijinks and whatever's going on at the time. He knows how to make the audience laugh, that's for sure.
The production will run Thursday and Friday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 2 p.m. at Pittsburgh High School. The Carthage School District yesterday broke ground, signaling the start of work on the high school's new baseball field. With the podium representing home base, the coach says this new location should improve practice time. The baseball team has been using Carl Luton Stadium for practice, but with the $1.2 million+ stadium on the horizon, players are excited to practice on new turf.
They're focused on the task at hand right now, and yes, they're excited about being out on a turf field, but they also know that there's a season to play, and their focus is on that right now.
Phase 1 and 2 of building the new baseball field is expected to wrap up in September, right in time for the next baseball season. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Armed gangs in Haiti attempt to take control of Haiti's international airport. Plus, there are reasonable grounds to believe Hamas terrorists committed sexual crimes against women. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
The law offices of Aaron Sachs and Associates, committed to community service.
Topping World Watch, a mysterious street artist's work is getting a lot of traction leading up to the Paris Olympic Games this summer. The French street artist goes by the name Invader and is leaving pieces of his pixelated mosaics around the world, including Paris. He's even created a mobile game to get supporters of his work more involved. The game Flash Invaders awards points to fans who find and photograph Invader's colorful works of art. It already has more than 350,000 downloads. Paris is the artist's most invaded city, and some believe more Olympic-themed artwork will start popping up closer to the Games. The European Space Agency installed Invader's Space 2 mosaic aboard the International Space Station back in 2015. Armed gangs in Haiti attempt to take control of Haiti's international airport. Monday's attack is the largest on the Toussaint Louverture airport in the history of Haiti. The ambush coming just days after gang members freed thousands of jailed in the country's two biggest prisons. Haitian police and soldiers block a gunfire from the gangs as they defend government sites while violence continues. A 72-hour state of emergency has been set in place since Sunday. The U.S. Embassy has also suspended travel to Haiti and recommends American citizens who are there to immediately leave. The United Nations says there are reasonable grounds to believe Hamas terrorists committed sexual crimes against women during last October's massacre in Israel. That assessment comes amid ongoing ceasefire talks in Egypt and humanitarian airdrops by the U.S. and Jordan. Correspondent Trey Yingst has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Pallets of food float through the sky, dropped into Gaza for a second time by the U.S. military. Inside, more than 36,000 meals for hungry Palestinians, including some of Gaza's most vulnerable residents.
Now, when children are starting, as the doctors are telling our colleagues, to die from starvation, that should be an alarm like no other.
The UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs warns of a growing humanitarian disaster inside Gaza that will only be made worse as the conflict continues. 151 days into the war, Hamas representatives are meeting with mediators in Cairo to continue ceasefire talks. After 2 days of discussion, it was decided to extend the conversations as President Biden calls for an end to the fighting.
Mr. President, how close are we to the ceasefire?
It's in the hands of Hamas right now. The Israelis have been cooperating. There's an offer out there that's rational. We don't know what. We'll know in a couple days if it's going to happen. But we need the ceasefire.
Officials in Tel Aviv say time is running out to save the remaining hostages. Around 100 are believed to be alive, along with at least 30 bodies that Israel is working to return. New findings by the UN Special Representative on Sexual Violence add to the pressure to reach a deal.
With regard to the hostages taken to Gaza, we found clear and convincing information that sexual violence, including rape, sexualized torture, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment, has been committed against captives.
The UN Special Envoy says there are reasonable grounds to believe that sexual violence is still being committed against those held in captivity.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
This is Scott with Windows for Less. With springtime in mind, so is spring cleaning. With our double hung window and outside glass, easy breezy. Give us a call today to schedule your free at-home estimate. If you want the best for less, call Windows for Less.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:47 on this Wednesday morning. This is a live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin. Still a bit breezy out there and still quite cloudy, at least for some of us across the area. And these clouds have been releasing some very light drizzle. Of course, it doesn't show up on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, but there have been a few little raindrops here and there. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line also looking pretty good. We're going to start to see some changes. And the first change we're going to see is it's going to be warmer today. I'm going to see a bit more sunshine. By noon, we're still looking to be mostly cloudy across the area, but as we head into the afternoon and early evening hours, most of those clouds clear out, and we're looking at mostly clear skies before those clouds turn around and start to thicken back up again after about, say, 7 o'clock. And then overnight tonight, after 1 a.m., we're going to start to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms. So again, by this time tomorrow morning, we'll probably see some thunderstorms. As the morning progresses and we head toward the afternoon, there will be more thunderstorms across the area, and we will continue to see thunderstorms with us through most of our Thursday into the evening hours. Now, late Thursday into early Friday, we'll have a brief pause in activity before we'll see additional showers and thunderstorms. But here we are at midnight, start to roll into the area. Now, with that, we do have that chance for some strong, potentially low-grade severe thunderstorms out there. So for tonight, it is looking to be just some thunderstorm activity initially overnight when it first begins to develop. But as we head through the day Thursday, some stronger storms will be possible. Right now, hail and damaging winds seem to be the primary concern. And as the system exits Friday, we could see some additional strong storms across parts of our southeastern county. So it's something we'll keep a close eye on for you. 46 in Joplin right now, very clearly cloudy out there. 42 is what it feels like with an east breeze around 8 miles an hour. Temperatures around the region are similar to yesterday, except for those in the southeast where that front hadn't passed through yet. Most of us into the 40s out there, but we do have some 30s across parts of southeastern Kansas, even low 30s, Neodesha and Parsons out there. So a bit of a cold start. Mostly cloudy skies initially this morning, 52 by 11 o'clock. Highs today are going to be right around the mid-60s out there. And again, afternoon, the clouds begin to gradually clear out across the area. And for a time, we will go mostly clear before the clouds return late this evening. And then we'll see those thunderstorm chances after 1 a.m. Overnight lows, upper 40s and low 50s across the area. So again, the thunderstorms will continue with us Thursday and Friday. Temperatures still in the 60s. A few lingering showers on Saturday, and we're back down in the low 50s. A little warmer on Sunday, warming up to start next week with some additional rain chances on Wednesday and Thursday. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Businesses that'll be available to discuss the latest trends. For more information, give us a call at the Grove Area Chamber of Commerce.
A pair of daring rescues to help trapped drivers, one high above water, the other right on top of it. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Take a look at a harrowing mid-air rescue that unfolded to save a driver from a truck dangling off a bridge. The collision that caused the surreal scene unfolded on the Clark Memorial Bridge in Louisville, Kentucky, and involved the semi-truck and 3 other vehicles. Some serious injuries were reported. Officials say it took about 40 minutes to set up a rope system to allow a firefighter to rappel down and pull the driver trapped in the dangling cab to safety.
Thank God. That's what she kept saying, thank God. And I told her, I said, just take a deep breath, and then here's what I need you to do.
The rappel rescue was a success, and police are now looking into what caused the crash. The bridge was shut down until a safety inspection could be completed. Police in Georgia had to work fast to rescue an unconscious driver from a crashed car that came to rest on top of a swimming pool. Police say the driver suffered a medical emergency and crashed the car onto a covered swimming pool in a townhome community. Police did have to smash their way to the unconscious driver, but amazingly, the strong pool cover held the vehicle up, allowing them to pull the driver to safety. Finally, it was horses on a highway that caused a stir for interstate drivers in Ohio. Cleveland PD says a pair of police horses from their mounted unit escaped their stables and went for an unstable joyride of sorts down crowded I-90. Officials say the show of horsepower was short-lived and the pair was eventually rounded up. Any injuries? According to the Ohio Department of Transportation, nay. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Some incredible rescues for sure. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Start off the new year with a beautiful, healthy smile using Invisalign. We want to remind you of our continued low pricing and
Gaffney and Taylor and Willow.
Many buyers are frustrated with shrinking products and higher prices, but now even Cookie Monster is fed up. In a post on social media, the Sesame Street character said, and very eloquently I might add, "Me hate shrinkflation, me cookies are getting smaller." He may be onto something. Labor Department data shows some Oreos have decreased 6% in size by weight. And a report from Glassdoor shows the price of cookies has risen more than 28% since the start of the pandemic. As for how Cookie Monster is dealing with it, he posted, quote, "Guess me going to have to eat double the cookies." Right on, Cookie Monster. And speaking of cookies, nothing better on hump day than a sweet treat. Grab a glass of milk. It's National Oreo Cookie Day. Oreos are technically sandwiched with a sweet cream filling between two chocolate discs. They were first introduced in 1912 on what is known as Oreo Day. Speaking of, what way do you eat your Oreos? Do you twist them apart and eat the center first, or maybe bite into the cookie side first? How about dunking them in milk and eating them whole? Whatever you choose, grab a handful and chow down.
It's definitely going to take a handful, considering that they are apparently 6% smaller than they used to be.
How about that?
I know. It's going to take a full handful of Oreos in order to make up. 6% is not that big, but wait until it's 12% or 20% smaller. Now I'm going to be really upset about that. No thing to be upset about with this forecast, though. We are looking at mostly cloudy skies to start. We're going to be about 52 by 11, and that is ahead of a warmer and sunnier day. We're going to go right around the mid-60s. Skies will begin to gradually clear afternoon, and will even go mostly clear as we head into the early evening hours. And then by late evening, the clouds return, and that is ahead of increasing shower and thunderstorm chances after, say, about 1 o'clock in the morning, with our lows upper 40s, low 50s out there. We'll have thunderstorm chances Thursday and Friday. Each of those days, we could see some strong, marginally severe storms with some hail and perhaps some gusty winds. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. We'll be in the 60s. AM showers on Saturday, a little cooler. We'll warm up a bit to kick off the next work week ahead of additional rain chances Wednesday and Thursday. That is a check of your forecast. We're back with more after this.
Rely on our years of experience at Bath, Naylor, and Frisco Funeral Homes.